gave the other guy a big lead. Guy was ahead of you, and he came back, won the last 4 rounds, and won the fight. Ain't over till it's over. That was a gutty performance. Very big result.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you.
Oh, say something to the crowd, to the people. You can talk in Spanish a little bit.
Gracias Bob por esas palabras. Muy agradecido con todo el apoyo, ¿no? Y bien contento con el trabajo que realizamos. Un oponente muy bueno, mi respeto para Antonio, así que fue una prueba muy dura y buena para mi futuro combate.
Jose, first I want to thank everyone, and also he's thankful of all of the support that he's received. There was a lot of hard work in camp. The opponent, Antonio Moran, was a very good opponent, a very strong opponent. He feels that's a good preparation for him as he moves in the future and going on to bigger fights.
So now we hope to talk to Jose and bring him back in end of August, maybe. Fight another Mexican, but this time for the championship. Right?
Mira, sí, estoy bien dispuesto para pelear por el título mundial de la WBO con Rey Beltrán, así que vamos a descansar y que pongan fecha para este próximo combate. Gracias.
He said he wants to take get a little bit of a break and then be ready to get a date on the calendar to fight with Beltran. He's looking forward to having the opportunity to become the WBO champion at 135.
Any questions?
Jose, is this the kind of fight you needed to prepare for Beltran? He's a very physical, big fighter at the weight.
Sí, es un gran boxeador, típico mexicano, que es fuerte, va para encima todo el tiempo. Va a ser otra gran prueba para poner todo mi talento en juego.
He felt that Moran was a very good opponent for him for this fight, a very strong, very typical strong Mexican fighter that's going to help him be prepared as he moves forward. It's a good test for him and a good preparation for Beltran.
Bob, where would that fight land?
Wherever, again, a lot of locations are asking for us to bring ESPN fights to their cities. June 30, we're in Oklahoma City. July 7th, we're in Fresno. July 14th, we're in New Orleans. July 28th, we're in Orlando. August 18th, we're in Atlantic City, and we'll have a good location for the 25th. Everybody, all these cities are bidding for these fights because, as you saw tonight, thanks to ESPN and the budget that we have, this is not like the usual boxing. We have a lot of non-competitive fights and 4-round, 6-round fights. You have some of them, a couple of them, but most of them are very important fights. NABF title fights, WBO Latino title fight, where they're very, very competitive. Like further down on the card, you would have usually seen a 4 or 6 round fight. Instead, you saw Dadashov fighting the kid from Colombia in a very, very competitive fight where Dadashov stopped him in the last round. And then Benavidez made 1 round easy work of his opponent, but the guy was undefeated, from Brazil, and that was WBA eliminated. So that's what you're going to see on these cards. One fight after another, really good fights. We hope to be back here in Las Vegas in the fall. But again, I don't know exactly where we're going to do August 25. It depends on who's going to be on the card.
For the record, Bob, Jose wants to fight in Puerto Rico.
So I would like to, but we have a piss poor president who didn't send down the right aid, and how many people died in Puerto Rico, and you still don't have power there. That's because, I mean, let me tell you, I don't want to make a political speech, but I'm going to.
Go ahead, Bob. Come on,
We
Bob.
have a guy who's president of this country who sold out to the Russians. It's obvious from the last statement telling the G7 that they have to take the Russians in. And he doesn't take care of the people in the United States, the American citizens. What this country did, what this administration did in Puerto Rico was an absolute disgrace. A disgrace. So maybe we can't have you fight in Puerto Rico, we'll have you fight in Orlando and Kissimmee, where all the Puerto Ricans are living now.
Thank you, Bob.
Can I ask you about
I just wanted to ask you about Bud's performance. Can I ask you about that?
Sure.
I mean, it seems to me he's on another level from almost every other fighter, with maybe except for Lomachenko and Spence. Would you agree with that? And it seemed like he showed everything tonight?
Well, yeah, I mean, again, it's, Spence is an excellent fighter. But, and we saw him with one great performance with Cal Brook. And maybe Spence can be at that level. I'm not saying that he can't, but he has to demonstrate that. Bud Crawford and Lomachenko it's like having A and 1A, 1 and 1A in a race, They are tremendous. They're different. Bud reminds me of the great Sugar Ray Leonard in his prime, and Lomachenko is like somebody I've never seen before. I don't want to get Jose, anxious, but maybe if he beats Beltran, he'll be in with Lomachenko. But he's those are two really great fighters. You're right, Kevin.
And it's just, like Terrence's overall game, it's like he has footwork, he has head movement, he's left and right. It seems like there's nothing in his game that he's missing. Would you look at him and say that?
Right, I was shocked how he fought most of his fight as a southpaw. Right, I've seen most of his fights. He fights as a right-handed guy, and then he switches up to the left hand. But here, you could call him Zerto Crawford. He fought like a southpaw the whole way.
Well, I'm going to just ask you about you were talking about ESPN and a lot of your fights now on ESPN, and this I think was the first on the ESPN app plus streaming. I think
It was the second one. The
Second
first one was an experiment we did in Fresno with the Filipino fight and Casas and Sultan. That was the first fight on the ESPN app. But this was the first big fight on the ESPN Plus, and you could see how ESPN got behind it. The linear network is like a megaphone for the app, and I'm telling you, now that it's over, everybody, you got 7 days, you can get it for nothing. You've got to, if you're a sports fan, you've got to try that app. You have, at any time, 80 fights of classic fights that you can get and show in a big screen on your television. You have all these documentaries that they've done, in all sports. You can, if you like soccer, you got soccer games live, you got baseball games live, lacrosse, everything. It's got to see networks. Linear television is finite. There's a certain amount of product you can put on, and that's it. But this app and the digital world, it's infinite. I mean, you've never seen anything like it. It's like Netflix for entertainment. You can pick from 500 different movies and series on Netflix. ESPN Plus is, in effect, for sports what Netflix is for entertainment. And that's the future. That's the future. It's going to be all, I won't be around this, so you can say, hey, you were wrong, you're right, but 10, 20 years from now, maybe I will, but I don't think so. People will watch their entertainment and their sports mostly on digital platforms.
Trump just watches on
Direct to
TV.
consume.
Trump just watches TV.
Well, that's why he's a friggin' idiot. I mean, really.
Hey Bob, can I ask you about Jeff? What do you think of his performance tonight? And do you want to keep that association going because your deal with him is up now? Where do you
Who's
think
that,
you'll
who?
go? Jeff Horn.
I thought he showed a very courageous, to stand in there and take the punishment from an elite guy, really an elite guy like Crawford, is no disgrace. I think he showed himself with a lot of bajonies, and he gave a good performance. Was he competitive with Crawford? No, but I don't know anybody really who's going to be competitive with Crawford.
Do you want to keep the relationship going, Bob, do you think?
Yeah, sure. I mean, I love Brisbane. I love Queensland. I love the two fights that I co-promoted there, the Horn with Corcoran and Horn with Pacquiao. And I would certainly love to go back to Queensland and the rest of Australia to do fight promotions. It's a big sports nation.
Hey Bob, what's next for Crawford? He keeps saying that he wants the big fights and all that. What do you think is the next one?
Well, they're all big fights. They're all, we get him the best possible opponent. The thing that's important, he had a long layoff partly because he hurt his hand in the training. We had Dr. Shin from Joe Curlin treat him, and his doctor in Omaha treated him, and we had to do a postponement. So he was off 8-10 months, something like that. So we got to make up for that, and hopefully I'll get him back in action in October. And we'll see who's around for him to face.
Any more questions for Jose?
Round of applause for, you'll see him soon. Congratulations.
And Jeff and Terrence should be arriving very shortly.
And a lot of kids really impressed on the card. I thought Max Stadishev, the kid from St. Petersburg, showed a lot of talent. This was only his 11th professional fight, and he was fighting a experienced fighter. He was ahead on two of the scorecards, a couple of points ahead when he knocked out his opponent, but that was a terrific fight. The semi-main with Pedraza and Arum was a terrific fight. I thought very, very competitive. You saw Shakur Stevenson on his way to greatness. I think he's going to be a major factor in boxing. Gabe Flores looked terrific. I was very pleased with his performance. I thought all these guys performed well. I mean, Jose Benavidez, sorry we didn't see more of him, but he threw that crunching punch that knocked out the opponent and won, and that's what you're expected to do, win. So Jose, that was a big victory. Everybody performed well, including, I must say, the Lion of Zion. Lion of Zion looked really good tonight, getting rid of his opponent with a body punch in the first fight.
Any more questions about the Crawford Horn fight for Bob? Okay, so that concludes this portion of it. We will be back with Jeff and Terrence shortly.
No, we keep talking.
Or we keep talking. Who has another question for Bob?
Ugly question. Just discuss it.
Bob?
We can discuss a president of the United States who tells our allies that without Russia they're nothing, right? That's really what everybody suspected. I mean, can you believe, you talk about treason, with the president of the United States, a traitor to this country, bought and paid for by the Russians. Right there. Right there.
Sorry, Bob, it's not a Trump question, but can I ask you another Horn question? You said you'd like to keep working with Horn, Bob, but you were talking about in Australia. Would you want to bring him over here for maybe some more fights in America?
Absolutely. I mean, I think he's a courageous fighter. He was in with a super elite fighter. Let's see him fight with regular welterweights. We have a whole bunch of them that fight for top rank. This Kavaliskas kid is a terrific fighter. A whole group of welterweights that we can put him in. If Glenn wants to bring him over and fight in the United States, love to put him on a card, and he would be, I think, a welcome addition to our ESPN telecast.
Horn and Sean Porter would be good.
Terrence Crawford is entering the room right.
Sean Porter and Horn would be good.
He what?
Sean Porter and Horn would